All right. The Chicago Bears, they have an answer at a specific position that's hiding in plain sight. And GM Ryan Poles, he took a big swing last year, right? And then he followed it up with a huge gamble this offseason in this particular position. And both of these moves involve a player that most of you don't want to talk about. So stay with me here. What's up? Welcome to Sports Talk Bears. It's a fun community here. Hit the subscribe button and join us as we move towards 10,000 subs. So the guy I want to talk about is DeMarcus Walker and point out something. He's going to be a strong rebound candidate due to the composition of this line and also looking at a smaller sample of his performance last year. Stay with me here. I want to show you that the arrow's pointing up. So let's go. He had a much better 2023 than fans realize, and he could take a nice step in his second year in this scheme. And I'm going to go to this story on bearsdigest.com, and it just really gives a good outline of exactly what I'm talking about. So give it a listen. Give it a look, actually. So GM Ryan Poles, he rolled the dice bringing DeMarcus Walker in last year in free agency. And now he's gambled on him once again by not taking a big free agency swing in the offseason this year. So instead of looking at a veteran signing, somehow save the right end through free agency, I'm going to argue that the veteran presence is always there. And he's not going to handle it on his own, but we have a strong rotation here. And I think this is exactly what GM Ryan Poles, Coach Eberflus, exactly what they were thinking when they didn't take a defensive end via free agency that really moved the needle. I think they saw this defense humming towards the end of the year, and they're like, hey, I think we can work with what we have. So it comes down to Chicago. It comes down to the change in this line following the acquisition of Montez Sweat. That shrinks the sample size a bit, but I also want to look at the sample size of what followed the loss of Ngakoue for the season. So we're going to shrink the sample size twice here. So the Bears signed Walker from Tennessee after a career year. And last year, regardless of what you hear in the media, regardless of what you think as far as the right end position, it wasn't a failure. He had a career high 22 pressures for the Bears, and 12 of them, they were in the final 7 games. That's a sample size of Sweat joining the line. So first shrink of the sample size, Montez Sweat joins the line, and Walker has a career high 22 pressures, but 12 of those were in the final 7 games. So now we're going to go a step further. We're going to shrink it down to the final 4 games after the Ngakoue injury, because that's going to look at a little closer as what our roster composition is right now. So 4 games after Yannick got hurt, 8 of his career high 22 pressures were in those last 4 games. So what I'm saying is, if DeMarcus Walker can play like the guy that started the last 4 games after Ngakoue went down, and to further elaborate on that, that's 2 sacks, 10 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 7 quarterback hits in 4 games. It'll give teams something to think about when game planning against Chicago's front 4. They're going to have to account for him. And it's kind of weird that this is being missed in all the drama about our right end. The drafting of Booker, that's a huge get. He's going to be starting, I think, halfway through the season. But, man, Walker has been a forgotten man. And he was also a main contributor in the Bears' league-leading run defense. That's a run defense that allowed only 86.4 yards a game. That's pretty nice. All everyone wants to look at are the low sack totals after the splash year with the Titans that he had before we got him in 2022. He had 7 sacks, and that was a career high. So here's something nobody's talking about, though. He had an absolutely insane amount of double teams, and the only edge rusher double team more was Micah Parsons. That's crazy. And that stat was provided by Brendan, I believe his last name is pronounced Segru, at bearswire.com. So I want to give credit for that. The only guy double team more was Michael Parsons. That's crazy. He's also versatile. And Flus, he started bouncing him around. This guy can play inside and outside. So what I'm saying is Walker, he's already a solid part of this defense. He doesn't need to be completely replaced. And I think Walker's due for a resurgence as well, because with unexpected development of Jervon Dexter as the Bears 3-tech, uh, Billings and solid run support, a full year of Montez Sweat on the opposite end, right? He's not going to be able to be double teamed anymore. In fact, not at all. And with a constant threat from the linebacking crew as well, our secondary, and to get this, not get this twisted, there's some precedence to this as well. The makeup of the Bears line, it shows some similarities to the Titans defensive front in 2022. I mean, the fear is that he only had 2 sacks for the Texans in 2021, 4 tackles for a loss with that. Then he had a splash year in 22, and then the Bears get him, and the fear is, are we just going to get like the whole hum DeMarcus Walker from when he was with the Texans? We want the Titans guy, and we actually got a good amount of the Titans guy last year. People just have it twisted. So if we look back at the 2022 Titans, their front seven was nasty in 2022. They were led by all-pro defensive tackle Justin Simmons. He had 8.5 sacks. He had 12 tackles for a loss. What I'm saying is, with this around him, with a more developed defensive line, with a good defensive line, he had a high output year simply because defenses, they couldn't focus on him. He also had never been on a team with a good line before, honestly. And the Bears line of Dexter, the Bears line of Sweat, that gives him a similar environment from when he balled out with that splash year in 2022. So look for him to improve. As a veteran right end, he's going to improve. He's going to be there as Booker gets his sea legs. We'll also see if the best D-line coach in the year in the league, you guys know him, he's our defensive coordinator, Eric Washington. I think he might even be able to give Dominique Robinson CPR, help him reach his potential a little bit. So we're looking at this. 30 tackles, 9 for a loss, 3.5 sacks, 16 quarterback hits. That's in 17 games of 12 starts. And he's making a 3-year contract for $21 million. Sacks weren't there, but his value is being a versatile defensive lineman who can also line up inside and outside. Like I said, Flus is moving him around a little bit. And he was actually very good against the run. And then to recap, 2 sacks, 8 quarterback hits in the last 4 games. The veteran defensive presence, it's already on the Chicago Bears team. And there's definitely room for another addition on the cheap during training camp. Let's wait until we can bargain shop. I'd love to see Ogba be that guy. But the pass rush is way better than we think. Dexter develops, that equals Walker being worth his contract. And it's all interdependent here. These positions flow together and elevate everyone as a unit. So let's stop staring at sack stats. Let's open our eyes to possibilities resulting from patience and the danger of just throwing free agent money at it. It's very possible all the pieces are already here. 3-tech, Booker, future right end. Walker, a very good platoon rusher with high upside if he's not the main man. He can hold it down while Booker gets ready. And with the Titans, he was elevated performance-wise by the guys around him. I'm telling you, this situation will likely be replicated with the Bears line. Let's take a breath. Continue to trust this process. And here's the goal. A really good team, a dominant defense with affordable young players. We are there. Add a vet on the cheap like Ogba to help just a little while these young guys gel. And this time next year, we're going to look back on a very good pass rush. We're going to be glad we didn't pull up the Brinks truck to a defensive end and mess up our cap space in the future. We are on the right track. And you guys, tell me what you think. I know you're going to. DeMarcus Walker is kind of a sore subject because he was supposed to be, I get it, our splash defensive end signing last year, and it apparently so far isn't looking like it's exceeding our wildest dreams, but the production's been there. He hit another career high, and I think good things are to come. You guys, enjoy your 4th of July celebration weekend. Still bear down. I'm looking forward to training camp, and we'll talk soon. See ya.